You get $1 million. Let's go to Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Rod. Hello, Canada. Good afternoon from the slopes of Mount Royal. McGill University, Percival Molson Stadium. Good morning to those of you watching in Saskatchewan. Sunday afternoon game, the last day of September, and the Elder Saxmen are in the house.
Yes, sir. Two of the all-time great pass rushers in the Canadian Football League. We have Charleston Hughes making a run for it this year. He is 9th all-time, 112 career sacks. Just ahead of him is John Bowman, 8th all-time, 124 career sacks.
Alouettes, Mike Sherman, it's been a work in progress to say the least. Johnny Manziel starts again today. 3-10 record. Mike Sherman, former NFL coach, not used to that. And for Chris Jones, his team have won 5 of their last 6, but he still says there's work to be done, particularly offensively. Saskatchewan now 8-5. It's Military Appreciation Day. Saw you jump out of your seat there, partner. Thank you to the soldiers and our members of the armed forces who are with us today and around the world, keeping us safe. We're ready to roll here today. Brett Lowther's going to kick this off. Saskatchewan won the toss. They've deferred to the second half. Montreal will take the ball. A little wind blowing today as week 16 concludes. And the last day of September in Montreal. Steph Logan. It's been a long time since he's been able to return one back. Maybe today as he gets pasted into the signage, and there's a roughing call afterwards. So that's going to add some yardage for the Montreal Alouettes and give them a good starting point for Johnny Manziel.
And again, Manziel is a new quarterback to the Canadian Football League. Every advantage you can give him in terms of starting field position and so on.
Foul. Saskatchewan, number 32, unnecessary roughness. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down, Montreal.
Our referee today is Dave Foxcroft. So a good start for the Alouettes, who haven't had too many good starts this season. In fact, their first quarters have been abysmal. Johnny Manziel still looking to get off the schneid here. Looking for his first touchdown pass in the Canadian Football League. Looking for his first win in the Canadian Football League.
With the latter obviously being the more important to Johnny Manziel and the Montreal Alouettes at this point.
This was Johnny Manziel's most recent sample against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And the thing I've maintained from the start with Johnny Manziel is, you know, wins and losses aren't necessarily the most important thing. Obviously, yes, this team wants to win. They want to stay alive, keep their slim hopes alive from a playoff point of view. But for Johnny Manziel, in the big picture, the key is that he's a little better every time out. He gets a little bit better with every start. So far, in his time as a Montreal Alouette, through 3 starts, he's done that.
To B.J. Cunningham. Up near the 52-yard line.
Well, take a look at the Alouettes starting offense with the Terrell Sutton trade to BC. William Stanback becomes the undisputed starter at running back. Along the offensive line, Tony Washington came over with Johnny Manziel in the trade from Hamilton. Kind of the last 2 men standing from that trade, so to speak.
Yeah, a lot of injuries in that trade. Chris Williams, Jamal Westerman. Looked like somebody had moved there. There's no flag on 2nd and 2, and we'll see where progress is. And the spot looks like it's on the midfield stripe, so another positive step for the Alouettes, who haven't had many this season. They're right on the 55-yard line, and it's a first down. Last in almost every offensive category.
Oh, high percentage pass followed by a handoff out of the gate for Manziel. Things that allow him to get a little bit of confidence, but also allow this Alouettes offensive line to find some rhythm.
Handed off again to Stanback, and he bashes his way into Saskatchewan territory. Former South. There's Stanback. And let's take a look at what Saskatchewan has done defensively, and it has been remarkable this year.
Yeah, very good defensive line. Starting the two Canadians on the inside. Zach Evans alongside Mac Henry in there. More Canadian depth with Sam Hurl at middle linebacker. And Mike Edom, the former Alouette. Once a first-round pick here in Montreal, starting at free safety.
Another second down. And they'll quickly come to the line of scrimmage. Antonio Pipkin into the ball game. Lined up in the gun, then went right behind center. Pipkin, of course, had a couple of starts and a couple of wins. Looks like they'll keep him out here for this package.
Yeah, Pipkin just looking to find a soft spot, find the bubble in that defensive front.
On third down, successfully achieved. So the drive will continue for the Alouettes, who have had awful starts to ball games. Minus 51 in the first quarter, minus 117 point differential at halftime.
And Mike Edom hoping they were late with the spot.
Pipkin retreats to the sideline.
Well, maybe we spoke too soon about Tony Washington being the last man standing. Did we talk about that trade? Landon Rice also came to Montreal as part of that deal. Rice, since released and has returned to Hamilton. You mentioned Jamal Westerman and Chris Williams, who went the other way, both on the 6-game injured list at this point.
What an oddity, though, that deal. Everybody pointed to how it was going to help Hamilton so much of the time. Manziel wasn't playing in Hamilton. They get two all-stars in many ways, who unfortunately both are now out of the lineup for the season.
Yeah, and so it becomes more of a long-term deal for Hamilton. So they got a couple of first-round picks going their way in that deal as well. In terms of the immediate picture, Tony Washington starting left tackle for the Montreal Alouettes. So certainly from that perspective, we hope this injury isn't too serious.
Manziel back in the gun. Again, movement on the line's got a free one here. Takes a shot, might have a man, and Ernest Jackson couldn't catch up with the football. That ball was thrown ahead of him, but looked like Saskatchewan had moved.
Ernest Jackson.
Outside, Saskatchewan, number 7. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Coming out of the slot. He looked like he throttled down a little bit, looking for the ball just a little bit earlier.
We'll monitor second down conversions as well today, but 1st and 5. These two teams last and second last on second down conversions, and stand back will crash close, and so here comes a second down conversion attempt. Short yardage, albeit.
We took a look the work of Johnny Manziel through his first 3 Canadian Football League starts, and you know the improvement statistically speaking is obvious, but for people that have watched through those 3 games, I think even just in watching the games and sort of watching the things he's doing on the field, you're seeing the positives grow as well, just in terms of his command of the offense, his feel for the game, and so on.
Best second down defense in the league. Manziel escapes now. Now he has to dance, and he's going down on second down. And Toby Antiga has the sack. That was a bad decision.
Yeah, this is one where you have to kind of know when to say when and protect the field position. You've got a shot with Boris Beatty where you're within field goal range, and you give up that field position on your opening possession of the game.
13-yard loss instead of a field goal attempt. Boris Beatty just able to get that away, and it's out of bounds.
Probably between the 20s for a flag.
They'll throw the flag. It'll be a good start for Zach Collaros and the Riders. So no points for Montreal in their opening drive. Zach trying to get his offense on track today in Montreal. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Cool Montreal afternoon Sunday, welcoming you all across Canada and those watching down south. Sure watching in Steubenville, Ohio. Pride of Steubenville, Zach Collaros, former Ticat, former Argo, now the guy wearing green and white. First possession, first series. Collaros, ball up for grabs, and it's picked off. And the team, and they're saying it's incomplete. The team that doesn't do much of that against the team that does a whole lot of that comes up with a football. And it is Ryan Brown out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, Brown was the guy with the recovery. Watch from the right side of your screen here. Jesse Joseph provides the hit on the ball. Pops straight up in the air. But Brown just unable to hold on as he was hit as he tried to secure that.
Mike Sherman just threw the challenge flag and feeling that he did have possession. The ball eventually did it hit the turf. If it hit the turf there, then it's not an interception. Using a challenge right out of the chute.
Montreal is challenging that the previous play
maybe a fumble
was a fumble. We'll review the play.
So if Zach's arm was not moving forward, let's take a look as watch Joseph 91. Boy,
that's hard to detect the exact moment in that sequence where the ball is actually contacted. I have a feeling this one's going to be ruled inconclusive and the call will stand, but
and early on burned that challenge flag 5 minutes into the ball game.
But again, understandable given what the impact of the play would be to take over possession at this part of the field early on for a team that doesn't put up a ton of points in the Montreal Alouettes.
Desperate team, especially early in ball games, as we mentioned, and a team that has only scored under 17 points a game. What are they saying here?
It's a tough one. I mean, this is such a close call in terms of where the ball actually comes out. Because I think you can make a case that he's got the arm cocked when the ball gets tipped by Joseph, but hasn't necessarily started to throw. And
if that's the case, that would be ruled a fumble. Call on the field would be overturned. Command will make that decision, and we have a verdict.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. It's a fumble with immediate recovery by Montreal. It will be first down, Montreal.
So Zach Collaros' first play out of the gate.
A big play for Jesse Joseph. Late insertion into the starting lineup with Gabe Napton. The last-minute scratch for the Owls.
Now the Owls get a chance to put up some points off this turnover. Something, again, they haven't done much of. It's in this area where they've imploded most of the time this season. Let's see if Manziel can take them to the end zone. First and 10 from the 32. So Manziel.
A double tight formation here.
And the play will not get off. We had procedure. It looked like some movement on the line and an alignment issue right from the hop.
Procedure. Montreal number 68. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
So now they'll change personnel. First and goal from about the 13.5.
Big opportunity here for the Alouettes, looking to capitalize on an early turnover.
Couple of chuckles down there. Adjusting the clock here. And they're looking at the yard line as well.
After review by the video official, the call is changed to offside, Saskatchewan number 96. After this is the goal. Repeat, first down.
Well, that's what the video officials, the eye in the sky, are there for. And that changes the complexion completely now.
Yeah, everything's coming up Al's so far today.
So back again, they change their personnel of offensive players. They'll go first and goal inside the 5-yard line. Manziel from the gun again. Stand back in the eye.
Game, but Jonathan Rose had the big hit.
Knocked
right at the goal line.
And Manziel is out now. Antonio Pipkin comes in. Pipkin, who has 5 rushing touchdowns. And will he have 6? 6 for 6. Pipkin scores. And the Alouettes put up some points off a turnover.
Yeah, with a little assistance from the video review process.
Something they don't do very often this season. Celebrate in the end zone. So the Collaros fumble results in the ball eventually getting down to the goal line, and Antonio Pipkin, former star out of Tiffin, takes it into the house. The Montreal team that again struggles in first quarters to put points on the board draws first blood here today. Boris Biedick pours it through. Pipkin scores. Big assist to Manziel and the offense getting down there. And the Montreal Alouettes have a 7-zip lead. Team that is second last in the CFL in turnover ratio has only scored 21 points before today off of turnovers. Is able to feast off this one.
Making the most of it. 4 plays, 32 yards. Culminating in the Antonio Pipkin touchdown plunge.
Montreal team that did defeat Saskatchewan in week 1 on June 30th. Drew Willie was the winning quarterback that day. Brandon Bridge was the quarterback for the Roughriders. Dangerous Marcus Thigpen. Spinning off a tackle. Pushed out near the 28. Manziel leads his team to a touchdown. Now it's Zach Collaros' turn. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues next week. Week 17, Friday Night Football. Blue Bombers coming off a win over Edmonton against the Red Blacks. Action gets underway 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific across the TSN network. We could see a CFL record broken in that game. Lewis Ward, 37 straight field goals. Young rookie. Red Blacks coming off a bye week. First place in the East. Going over the top is Collaros. Zach to Shaq Evans. And they'll go to the line really quick.
A quick look at this Saskatchewan offense. Naaman Roosevelt out of the lineup this week. Kenny Shaw, the former Argonaut and Red Black, is in. Keep an eye on Thaddeus Coleman. Right tackle, he'll be dealing with the edge rushers Bowman and Joseph most of the day.
Collaros changes the play up. He's going to empty the backfield and send out 6 receivers. Looks like another quick hitter. Far side, dangerous toss. They're able to get about 4 or 5 yards on that, make it 3 yards on the play.
Well, we mentioned Jesse Joseph in the lineup for late scratch Gabe Napton. He's already had an impact. Enoch Mwamba enjoying a good season in the middle of that defense. Brandon Dozier all season has been among the league leaders in interceptions. Versatile defender, taking most of his snaps at free safety this season.
Trey Mason, who made that last catch, as Collaros steps up and has a first down and a hook slide up near the 40, but there's a penalty flag in the backfield, likely against Saskatchewan, which opened up that hole, likely a holding call.
This flag was thrown late relative to when Collaros took off. Collaros was several yards downfield when the flag was actually thrown.
An illegal block, perhaps. Collaros doesn't get out and run a whole lot, just 15 carries. 62 yards this year, and again, Zach.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Is center Dan Clark.
This one will go against the center, Dan Clark. Keep an eye just as Collaros starts to go. You can see that little tug as Woody Barron tried to come off the block.
Makes it second down and 17. They're loud here today. Collaros has a good drop and goes over the top. And it is caught by Kenny Shaw in his first game wearing green and white. The former Toronto Argonaut.
Well, Kenny Shaw adding some depth to that Saskatchewan receiving corps. As mentioned, Naaman Roosevelt out this week. Taking a little extra recovery time. Chris Jones suggested had this been a playoff game, Roosevelt would have played, but a good opportunity to get Shaw in the lineup, have another veteran guy ready for this stretch run.
Sends out 5, and making the catch is Kyran Moore. Turner slash receiver, Kyran Moore, the former Austin Pay governor.
Collaros is throwing the ball with
some zip,
some authority out of the gate here, despite an inauspicious start with the fumble on his first pass attempt.
Again, missing so many weapons that he had earlier in the season. And there's Trey Mason, and Trey Mason's going to score. Touchdown! Daylight, green light. Trey Mason has his first touchdown as a Rider.
Let's take a look at how many Alouettes had a shot at Trey Mason on this play. He's just to the right of quarterback Zach Collaros. Goes into the pile. A couple Alouettes get hands on him there. 2 more with hands on him there, but Mason showing tremendous balance. Withstands those shots and makes his way to the end zone, giving the Alouettes a chance to tie this one up with the extra point.
27-yard scamper caps off a 6-play, 83-yard drive. What a response from Zach Collaros. Engineered that perfectly. Brett Lowther, point after, ties things up with 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 2 teams that are slow starters, sometimes no starters, have both found the end zone. First in Canada.
Here's a drive, 3 nice throws by Zach Collaros, marching his team down the field, shaking off a little bit of opening possession adversity. And Trey Mason finishes it off with a terrific run.
You know what? He's got those souvenir balls down south. Didn't want that one. Just left it there.
And just making the statement that he intends to score a few more.
So 7-7 ball game. 4.5 to go. Lowther, native of Truro, Nova Scotia, former Hamilton Tiger Cat. Trying to find some employment in the CFL the last few years, and he's done a terrific job kicking the football for the Roughriders this year. This one floats up. Stephen Logan. Let's go down to the sideline, and joining us once again is John Liu.
Well, thank you, Rod. And after last Tuesday's practice, William Stanback was at home reviewing film when he got a shocking call from a teammate who told him that Tyrell Sutton had been traded to the BC Lions. Now, Stanback tried unsuccessfully to call Sutton, who eventually texted him back to say, "You're prepared for this role. You're the next young bull up. I've told you everything you need to know." Now, that was small consolation for Stanback, who had come to consider Sutton a mentor and a friend, and had watched video clips on YouTube and film of Sutton to try to emulate his technique. Emulate his technique, and eventually has taken over this role now. And so how this turns out for William Stanback is the guy that many of his teammates considered a larger version of Tyrell Sutton is the man here as the feature back in Montreal, guys.
He is, but John, you are the man now. You almost made that catch in the middle of a report. Johnny Manziel almost had a completed pass to John Liu. Good job on that. Right? Didn't even hesitate.
Just the versatility.
Yeah. Manziel buried again. Rough Rider defense leads the way. So many categories. Chad Jeter as Manziel. Manziel is talking about the little jump, and have you noticed that there's another one? That's a couple of times now that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have jumped, and it almost looked as if they were offside.
Yeah, the thing you'd have to look at is he only a yard off to start, or is he more than a yard off to start?
Beating. And no yards. That's a 15-yarder. Kyran Moore was pummeled downfield. You have to give 5 yards. That wasn't even a yard, it looked like.
Every now and then.
Montreal, number 1.
Every now and then you think you've got it timed up perfectly. But Brandon Dozier, here you'll see, ball touched, and he's only about 2.5, 3 yards away when Moore first touches the ball. Difference of a split second, but it certainly matters as far as the safety of the returner.
Difference of 15 yards on the play. Right into Montreal territory goes Collaros and the Roughriders. Gave up the football in their first possession, led to a touchdown by Montreal. And they dissected the Alouettes in their second drive. Incomplete pass.
A little chatter happening down there on the field. Riders try to go for a quick hitter off play action.
Alouettes in another version of their retro uniforms, their signature uniforms this season. Look back on the glory years. Collaros standing in now, takes off, and Zach Collaros fumbled the football. Looks like Saskatchewan got it. Looked like.
Yeah, it looked like he was down before that ball popped out, but
it looked like they got the first down as well with 2:20 to go. This opening frame.
We've seen Zach Collaros now a couple times. If he doesn't like what he sees, look to pull that ball down.
He was down.
Make something happen with his legs. He had started to lose the handle on that before he went down. Fortunately, his center.
Yeah, it looked like before that knee was down.
Dan Clark had his back regardless.
3rd and 1 it is. Handed off to Mason. Goes flying over the top. It's a play you don't see very often as Trey Mason hits the trampoline.
Showed a little lift. One of our most exciting 3rd and 1 plays of the year. Up and over on Chip Cox.
When you talk about vertical for running backs, you usually talk about their vertical speed. Got some hops. First and 10 again for Saskatchewan. From the Montreal 38. Collaros looking to his left. There's a penalty flag. Collaros got hit, but there were 2 flags in the backfield.
Holding Saskatchewan number 57. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Oh, it was a hold. Collaros did get hit.
Keep an eye on the left guard, Brendan Labatt. He's the man flagged. Woody Barron was splitting what could have been a double team there.
Again, a Saskatchewan offense that hasn't been anywhere near what it was a year ago with 3 1,000-yard receivers. Collaros slinging over the top, and once again it's Evans.
Collaros did well to get this one away as a pass rusher had pushed the running back, Trey Mason, right back into Collaros as he threw this football, which limits his ability to step forward into the throw. Thought at that moment that that ball might sail on him a little bit, but right into the hands of a waiting Shaq Evans.
Evans, the former UCLA Bruin.
Collaros looking for that protection to be a little more firm. Step up to the line to pick up those blitzers.
Last play, opening quarter. Collaros runs now, tosses it up, and it's caught for a touchdown by Kyran Moore. For a moment, it looked like a prayer that was answered. And Moore dances in the end zone on the final play of the opening quarter, and it's a touchdown for the green and white.
And this looks like a little bit of a Hail Mary at the moment when Collaros throws it away. He's being chased, puts it up high. 2 receivers in the area. I'm not sure that Moore was the intended target. Jordan Williams-Lambert was initially over there, but Moore runs underneath it, makes the grab, and gives the Saskatchewan Roughriders the lead.
Moore, who has 2 punt return touchdowns, has his first offensive touchdown, and it comes again as the clock hits zeros in the opening quarter. Lowther no, it's wide. It is wide, so the convert is not good, but Kyran Moore was. Guy they call Swerve or Tiny comes up big. So does Collaros. 9th touchdown pass of the season. 13-7 Saskatchewan. Back in Montreal where the Alouettes opened scoring, but Saskatchewan has scored 13 straight. And here's a number the Alouettes don't like this year. Trailing after the first quarter, they are 0-7, but we'll see what Johnny Manziel and the Owls have in store. We certainly have seen Zach Collaros respond in a big way.
Yeah, and you have to like that when you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders or their fan base. Collaros obviously a tough start, drops back to pass and gets stripped of the football. The Alouettes go in and score, but Collaros didn't even flinch, brought his team right back. A couple of very impressive drives to end up with the lead by the end of this first quarter.
Yeah, Zach starting to show that form that put him in the MVP talks around the CFL a couple of seasons ago when he was with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and then of course injuries derailed him, and then even this season having some injury issues. But Collaros might have been a bit of a Hail Mary. I like to hear what they're saying there, looking at that tablet.
Yeah, may have to put that one in the playbook.
So now the Alouettes look to counter. Here's Steph Logan. The veteran, 37-year-old Steph Logan. Downfield quickly are the Roughriders. Johnny Manziel, former Heisman Trophy winner, former first-round pick in the NFL, who's tried to resurrect his football career here in Canada this year. If you had an over-under at the beginning of the year on Johnny Manziel's first touchdown pass, and let's say it was 4 weeks.
Yeah, I did this. I said week 16.
Okay, Kreskin. It is rather interesting, though, that it's taken this long, and it's been a struggle for Johnny Manziel adapting to the Canadian Football League, but he said yesterday that he's starting to come around.
Last week, for the first time, I felt a sense of calmness, and things were slowed down, which was very nice to have from a personal standpoint, sitting back there, not feeling frantic, not feeling rushed, being able to see things play out the way they are and having a better understanding of the game, you know, having been here almost a full season now.
Ed Gainey clearly grabbing the back of the jersey of Adarius Bowman as this ball was en route.
Defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan, number 11. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down, Montreal.
Just as good as a completion, point of foul, and you can see the tug that the former Alouette has on Adarius Bowman.
Yeah, Ed didn't try real hard to hide that one. Matchup between a couple of veteran players out there.
Down pass for Johnny Manziel, December 20th, 2015, with the Cleveland Browns. Gary Barnidge.
What's up, my love? I want to say hey to my wife, Libna, and my daughter, Jenna. I love y'all. We got some more work to do. Gino.
Adarius Bowman. It's rather appropriate. He should be the guy that catches that pass from Johnny Manziel, don't you think?
Johnny Manziel's first in the Canadian Football League is Adarius Bowman's first as a Montreal Alouette.
Well, Johnny football finally finds the end zone north of the border. Most importantly for the Owls right now, they have a lead. Fake pen. Dropped at the 24. It's Johnny Manziel, who did throw a touchdown pass in that same end zone in the preseason as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Who would have thought would have taken about 3 months later for him to record another?
Yeah, a long time coming, but that has to feel pretty good for the man wearing number 2.
Has to be a load off your shoulder pads, too. To go 3 games, 3 starts without a touchdown pass. Last quarterback to do that, 1961, Nelson Yarborough. Zach Collaros is in trouble. Wrapped up, ripped down, fumbled the football. But the veteran John Bowman had him wrapped up.
We showed you John Bowman off the top. Veteran coming off the twist.
They call that an incomplete pass.
Yeah, nice execution there by the Alouettes of that D-line stunt. Little bit of a communication issue clearly for the Roughriders in terms of the guard and tackle not switching assignments.
Fun to watch 2 veteran sack masters today, and John Bowman and Charleston Hughes. We'll hear more from them. Bad kick here. Josh Bartel. Steph Logan looking for some field position. Manziel and the Alouettes have a good starting point as they lead by 1 point at Molson Stadium. Get into Canada's #1 drama. The Good Doctor streams Monday at 10, 8 Mountain on CTV. What an afternoon so far. First half football. Week 16 concluding, and Johnny Manziel finally has gotten a load off his shoulder pads. Finally got his first touchdown pass. Looking to pick up his first win.
And you know, we talked off the top about Johnny Manziel improving with each game, being a little bit better with each start.
William Stanback. Tight ropes. Former Virginia Union star. Looks like he rocked for a first down. And yeah, baby steps for Johnny Manziel.
But, you know, and obviously a very small.
Yep.
That one was on the shelf for a while.
Money is back. Will the wins come back in Montreal? Alouettes. No, they're in must-win situation basically all the way out here now. That 3-10 mark. It's 1st and 10. Stand back in the eye. Now right beside Manziel. He's going to throw again. Here comes the rush. Manziel, sidearm, and penalty flag down. And again, it's in the area of interference or contact. And it looks like it's going to move the football again for the Alouettes. Chris Jones, lucky green shirt of his team has won 5 of the last 6, including a win last week against the Argos. Right now, Dave Foxcroft listening to command, the eye in the sky. Might be working on the spot here of where that foul took place. So they're putting the ball at the 20.
Saskatchewan number 42. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down, Montreal.
Right on the red zone line, right on the 20-yard line. Derek Moncrief. Chris Jones not happy.
Yeah, watching that play when it happened, I was not convinced. I liked Moncrief's play.
They run a sweep here with Eugene Lewis. Minimal gain. Set up another throwing down here.
Keep an eye. BJ Cunningham was the intended receiver. Moncrief is out there matching up on him in coverage. There's a break back outside. Didn't look like there was a grab there.
Looks like they may have got the guy.
Well, yeah, inside there is Darius Bowman tripped over Ed Gainey's feet, and I thought that might have been what the flag was on. I thought Moncrief made a decent play on the ball and had position there first.
Might have got a break, the Alouettes. Staying back out of the backfield. There he rumbles down to the 10-yard line for a first down. William Stanback. It's his car now with Terrell Sutton gone.
And I'll tell you, Terrell Sutton, one of the best in the business, says, I told you everything you need to know. You know, you're prepared now for this role. William Stanback has demonstrated even just on this drive, doing a nice job with the football. Hard-nosed runner. But Stanback on an earlier play on this drive, he found himself matched up one-on-one in pass protection against Willie Jefferson. Did a pretty good job keeping a real good defensive end away from his quarterback.
Well, already 1 touchdown pass. Can he make it 2? Manziel is going to roll. Throws. Batted away. Setting up a 2nd and goal. One thing Johnny Manziel can do is move that pocket. Extends plays, but nobody home in the end zone. Ball hawking Roughriders secondary.
Well, Willie Jefferson provided a little heat early, had a quick inside swim on Ty Rogers, who's been forced to shift from right to left tackle, with Tony Washington leaving the game again.
Second and goal. Manziel stands in. Now he's got a scamper. And he chucks it into the end zone. Jump almost picked off. Might have been better even to just throw that away, but threw it up, and it's Derek Moncrief, who coincidentally is the guy who ends the drive for the Alouettes, will result in a field goal attempt.
Yeah, and this is one we've seen it a couple of times in this football game, and this for me has been the sort of the knock on Johnny Manziel, the part that he needs to shake. We know he's a guy who kind of lives by the sword, dies by the sword in terms of the excitement, looking to create plays off the scramble, etc. But still, sometimes just knowing when to eat it, when to throw it away, whatever the case may be, and cut your losses, because that would have been, I'm not going to say tragic when you're looking at a field goal, but for a team, again, that doesn't score a ton of points, those points don't come easily. Don't risk throwing an interception in field goal range.
It's now a 4-point lead for Manziel and the Alouettes, but it was almost picked off in the end zone. Zach Collaros and the Saskatchewan Roughriders down 17-13 here in Montreal on a cloudy, cool day. Collaros has been on a roll lately. 5 of the last 6 after really struggling, particularly with the Hamilton Tiger Cats last year. Collaros has been able to right the ship. Scampers back. Finds Kenny Shaw. Zach against his old team last week. Toronto Argos at BMO.
Yeah, not necessarily great numbers, but made some plays when he needed to.
That's when he's at his best, when he's a playmaker.
Well, yeah, again, this is Zach Collaros getting a little bit of his swagger back this season. It's been a couple of rough years for him.
Injury riddled. Again, the losing record, and a guy who had so much swagger, it seemed, and confidence. Zach Collaros kind of had it sapped away from him.
Yeah, and an opportunity coming into this season for a fresh start with Saskatchewan, but he got hurt right out of the gate. It's been a little bit of a battle coming back, but he looks like he's finding his stride at just the right time.
And told us yesterday that, he understands what Johnny Manziel is going through, particularly trying to get his first win in all of those firsts. Said it's not easy up here. Josh Bartel. Clock ticks down to the midway point of the second quarter. Tell with that end-over-end signature kick. Logan. Johnny Manziel will start at the 34.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
Another series here for Johnny football. Further to what you were talking about earlier, the trying to do too much factor, especially for a guy who did so much in the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing at a higher level now. You got to pick your spots.
It has been an education, certainly, for Manziel. Standing in. Now he stutter stepped and goes down. And it's Eddie Steele back on that front line. The former Manitoba Bison brought Manziel down. Another Saskatchewan sack here.
Yeah, Eddie Steele, a guy who's seen a little bit of life on the other side of the ball this season, sometimes doubling as a backup O-lineman for the Riders this year.
51 sacks allowed by the Montreal Alouettes. Not a good number. Uh-oh, jump ball. Big fight downfield. Nick Marshall and Eugene Lewis. How good has Nick Marshall been? He's been a human eraser on that corner.
It's the outside matchup here, and you nailed it. Nick Marshall establishing himself among the top shutdown corners in this league. Perfect position on that play. Lewis had a shot to come up with it just as Marshall stumbled at the end, but terrific coverage. The former Auburn quarterback.
Versatile guy. Had an all-star season. No yards here. Kyran Moore runs out of room, but will get a 15-yard head start after that. So between the two of them, 70 years, 500 pounds.
No yards. Montreal number 84.
Look at all the sacks.
Penalty. First down, Saskatchewan.
Some 25 years of experience between these two guys today.
Yeah, that's a pretty good matchup in the tail of the tape. Two great ones, a couple of terrific characters as well.
It would be an interesting scrap if they ever had one. But they have great respect for one another. Don't play, obviously, against each other. Charleston Hughes, 13 sacks this year, leading the CFL. Trey Mason. John Bowman in the vicinity there did not get the tackle, but talked about the respect factor. It is mutual.
I look and see where he at times, and I'm pretty sure he looks and looks at my sack total and sees, you know, I'm kind of floating around where he is. John Bowman's been one hell of a player for many years, man, and you can't really knock what he does. He's one hell of an athlete. I've played with people who played with him, and they all say the same thing, like, man, he gets the job done.
Quick hitter on the far side. Saskatchewan moving these sticks right now. Joshua Stanford. So on the all-time sack list, the leader, Grover Covington, 157. Remarkable career in not many games. There you see John Bowman, and right behind him, number 9 on the list, is Charleston Hughes.
It's a pretty impressive list of guys. I can tell you over the course of my career, often assigned to block many of those.
Catch made by Jordan Williams-Lambert. That's his first reception of the afternoon. Another newcomer this year who has done great things wearing that S.
A number of highlight reel catches for Williams-Lambert. Big target and athletic guy. One who I believe has a very bright future in this game.
Second down and 3. Polaris from the gun. Hands it off to Mason. Finds the gap and has the first down. Trey Mason, our Auburn Tiger, and again that NFL resume speaks loudly.
Nice patience here from Trey Mason. You just see a little hesitation. He waits for that hole to open up, and the second hit does. Trigger quick acceleration.
First and 10. Clock ticking to that 3-minute warning. 4-point ball game. Play action. Down near the 20. Another first down for the Roughriders. Once again, it's Shaq Evans.
Yeah, Shaq Evans is just going to run the quick slant. Fight to get inside position on the corner. Javon Campbell.
So the first trip for the Riders to the red zone, or in their case, I guess, to the green zone. Looking end zone. 3-minute warning on the field here at Percival Molson Stadium.
CFL studio getting set for halftime. Montreal leading this one. We'll talk about Johnny Manziel, Zach Collaros, the defenses, and the playoff picture in the West in light of what's been going on in Week 16. As we go back to Montreal and Rodney Wayne.
All right, thank you, Rod. See you guys shortly. Zach Collaros trying to see his teammates in the end zone here. Trailing by 4. Inside the 20. Collaros gets hit, but delivers to Evans, who scores. Oh, what a touchdown by Shaq Evans. And Zach Collaros is slow to get up, but there's the fist pump, and it looks like he's all right. Sack to Shaq.
Yeah, that's become a pretty good combination. Remember, Shaq Evans is a guy who first broke into the Saskatchewan lineup when Duron Carter got moved over to the defensive side of the ball. He's proven to be a productive enough player.
And like Johnny Manziel, when he had his touchdown and didn't see it, I don't think Zach Collaros did until he saw Shaq Evans celebrating in the end zone.
Yeah, he took a pretty good shot.
Did he get in?
Yeah, it looked like the knee was down before the ball was across, but
they're saying
heck of an effort.
It is down at the 1-yard line, so it's not a touchdown. First and goal.
And Nick Marshall, as we have seen in recent weeks, comes out.
Attempted scoring play is under review by the command center.
So they'll look at that. So Collaros takes a hit. Shaq Evans takes a couple of hits. Not sure if he got into the end zone, but that might be a moot point shortly. His knee is down.
Look at where the ball is. You know, he manages to keep the knee and the butt off until there. And you got to decide for yourselves, is that tip of the football, has he broken the front plane?
After review, the ruling of down by contact is confirmed by the command center. It's first down, Saskatchewan.
First down, but might be elementary from here. Nick Marshall, you talked about him, the former Auburn Tiger quarterback. He's become a shutdown cornerback. The short yardage quarterback, and will score his 5th touchdown of the season as that short yardage guy. He has another 2 on interception returns. So that's 7 touchdowns for Nick Marshall in his first season in the Canadian Football League.
Pretty good resume he's assembling here in his first year in the Canadian Football League.
That was like butter for Nick Marshall. And look at the help he got. So it looks like they're going to line up for a 2-point convert. Saskatchewan doesn't attempt many. Just 1 for 3 on the season. Collaros back in, fires a dart to the back of the end zone. Hang on there, fellas. And it's Williams Lambert with the 2-point convert to make it 21-17.
And straight to that corner. Stud a little push off with the right hand to get a little separation. Collaros drops it in for 2.
There is a flag that was just thrown on the far side of the field as the Alouettes walked through the Saskatchewan bench, or just outside that sideline. Flag was thrown there. There might have been some chatter down there. We will find out in a moment. 2:30 to go before halftime, and Roughriders restore an edge here.
After the 2-point convert, objectional conduct number 24, Montreal. That'll be a 10-yard penalty applied on the kickoff.
Lack of discipline there that time from TJ Heath. Trying to say, what, me? What? So this could be costly in terms of field position. 10 yards on the kickoff. And TJ Heath. The flag was thrown even before he got into that little scrum. So Roughriders could pin the Alouettes, who need a good return here. Veteran Logan, long field for Johnny Manziel. Renews acquaintances with an old foe, Texas A&M and Auburn, and it was Johnny Manziel against Nick Marshall.
Yeah, the two of them doing battle in a different manner back in the day.
Trey Mason
as well. Saskatchewan running back, part of that contest.
This is back in 2013. Some 5 years ago.
Oh, Johnny Manziel hoping he can exact a little revenge on Nick Marshall, maybe with a deep ball at some point today. But so far, Marshall holding down the fort on that boundary corner.
Life is sliding doors. Who would have thought at that time? Johnny Football, Heisman Trophy guy, bound for the NFL. Nick Marshall, who some would have thought, might have taken it to the next level as a quarterback, becomes a defensive player. And here they all are. A reunion up in Canada. Life has its passages. Just over 2 to go here. 2nd and 10. Again, the best second down defense in the Canadian Football League. Saskatchewan Roughriders. Rush 3. Manziel has to escape and has to get rid of it. Tiptoes on the sideline. Might have got to the initial line of scrimmage, but that's it. So, again, that penalty's costly. Field position flip here. Saskatchewan could get the ball back and get in immediate field goal position. Chance to make it a 7-point game at the half with a field goal, but they might even be able to get it to the end zone. Marcus Thigpen is back near the 45. His 45.
And the Alouettes punt team needs a great cover job right here to avoid the scenario you just mentioned, Rod.
Off the side of his foot, bad kick here. Immediate field position and also a no yards call. Add 5 more yards to that.
Found a lower price on tires? We'll match it, guaranteed.
So all of that, and now the Roughriders are going to scrimmage inside Montreal's zone. Boris Beatty, not his best.
Yeah, short of the kick being returned for a touchdown. This all was about as bad a scenario as you could put together for the Alouettes. Very short kick, followed by the penalty.
Loads of time here to get it to the end zone, and again they've got the strong leg of Brett Lowther, who's had a great season, kicked a 56-yarder last week, so well within his range. St. Mary's product, but Collaros has different ideas. That one thrown behind Thigpen. Alouettes look to hold here to a field goal attempt.
Collaros has put together a nice first half, using all his weapons pretty effectively, getting all his receivers involved. A couple nice runs from Trey Mason out of that backfield.
Shaq Evans, top of the screen. Been dynamic today. And Collaros go to him out of the backfield. Dishing it off to Thigpen, who will fight for the first down.
Oh, what a playmaker Marcus Thigpen is. They set up the convoy in front of them. Receivers out to that side on the bubble screen are just blocking. Shaq Evans doing a nice job out on the corner. And then it's just Thigpen going to work, making people miss. Fights through a couple of arm tackles to pick up that first down yardage.
That's all he's done ever since he came to Canada and played before going back to the NFL. Every time he touches it, he does something with it. Williams Lambert is dusted on that far side.
Yeah,
unable to hang on.
Chip Cox has seen that leg with the slot releasing to the flat a few times in his career. He was right on top of this one. Separating Williams-Lambert from the football.
Chip Cox, got to consider him as a future Hall of Famer for sure. 224th career game, almost every category defensively for the Owls. He's the all-time leader. Here comes the blitz on Collaros. Trying to get it off to Thigpen, so they will have to settle for a field goal here. The Owls bend a little, but don't break. And they're going to have some time to possibly get it down the field, put some points on the board. We shall see.
And this is what we talk about in terms of the learning moments for Johnny Manziel, seeing what Zach Collaros just did. You're in field goal range. Not going to pull the touchdown out of the hat. Go for the throwaway, protect the field position, take the points.
Brett Lowther, almost 93% this season, and it's good. And of course, every week, we wire up the guys on CFL Wired.
You scared? I'll show you how scared I am in a minute. I'm gonna meet you right here.
Hey, I'll be back. I'll be back. That's what he get paid to do, and that's what he does. And he does it very freaking good.
CFL Wired, Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. The sound is up. We've got some great characters in this league, do we not?
Great chance to see him and hear him up close and personal.
Two of the very best, certainly Charleston Hughes, who has been sackless today. He's been sackless for the... He's got to be hungry, Charleston. Hasn't feasted on a quarterback to his fourth game here. Montreal 4 of 10 on second down conversions. They need 8 here. Pocket closes. Manziel scrambling now. Look out behind him. Here comes Charleston. And Manziel gets it away, but it's incomplete. Charleston Hughes. It's like a dog chasing a bone there. He chased down Johnny Manziel.
I suspect that Manziel could hear Charleston Hughes breathing down his neck.
.49 seconds and a couple of exchanges now. Saskatchewan again, an opportunity to get in field goal position. They put Brandon Dozier, thought they were going to put him onside. They do not. They'll gun downfield quickly. Kyran Moore. Dozier downfield. So 38 seconds left for Zach Collaros to work with, and it's a lot of time for Zach. Will they play it conservative with a 7-point lead, or will they go for more here?
Chris Jones teaching moment over there with Toby Antigua.
Man of that classic Southern drawl. Longtime coach here. Grey Cup winner, of course, in Edmonton. Trying to bring a cup back to Saskatchewan. Trey Mason fumbled the football, but the whistle had blown. He was down, and Trey Mason just able to scrape and scrap for extra yardage.
He's one of those guys, he just has a knack, kind of slippery. He's got great balance. Keeps those feet moving, shoulders low.
Hasn't changed much in the 5 years we saw that highlight there, just the number.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a 1st and 10 with 25 to go. Chance for a couple of passes here, a couple of plays to get in field goal range. Lowther has a strong foot.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 30 seconds.
So they'll get an extra 5. Montreal D trying to prevent any further damage. Another handoff, this time to Thigpen, right at the midfield stripe, the 55-yard line. Clock ticks down to 16. 2nd and 5. And may be able to get it inside that 50-yard line. Good chance that Lowther comes out. The wind has died down a little bit. It was swirling early on.
As the Riders try to get things set up, Lowther 3 of 3 from 50 plus this season.
But they're not going to do that. They're going to...
Yeah, they brought out the big bodies.
They're going to tick this down and take a lead into the locker room.
It's surprising given how close they were to field goal range. You know, unless they had just predetermined they weren't going to try a long field goal.
They were down early, fought back twice, and they have the lead at the half. 24-17. The visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders lead the way. From Montreal, we send it back to Toronto. At our CFL on TSN studio, here's Rod Smith. Back in Montreal, getting ready for the second half. The Alouettes lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders 24-17. One of the touchdowns scored by Adarius Bowman from Johnny Manziel, and Adarius is with John Liu.
Well, Adarius, a couple of firsts on your touchdown catch. Your first touchdown catch as an Alouette. Johnny Manziel's first as an Alouette. How much of a weight off of both of your shoulders was that?
Oh, man, I agree with you. It was a weight off our shoulder, but we got to keep it going. We came out with some great momentum. Defense has been doing great. Offense got to stay on the field, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can get back to that. But it was good to get it going, man. Like I said, we believe in Johnny around here. We got to get this win.
Within that momentum you described, Adarius, how much more comfortable, how much more of a rhythm do you feel Johnny Manziel has in this game?
Oh, like I said, I believe in him. We had a great week of practice, man. And like I say, there's a couple of different rules about the CFL, but I think it's all starting to settle in and sit in for him, you know, that extra safety and everything. I think he's doing a great job. We just got to hold up and get open for him as receivers.
Thanks for this, Adarius.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
Two guys getting in the touchdown department today. Johnny Manziel's first touchdown pass as a CFL quarterback. Again, had one in the preseason here in Montreal as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but officially now with the Alouettes. He's on the board, and so too Adarius Bowman, but the Alouettes are down 7. Saskatchewan leads the way, trying to stretch their record to 9-5 and continue their torrid second half streak as Marcus Thigpen is brought down by special teamer Nicholas Boulay.
Well, Zach Collaros prepares to pick up where he left off. Pretty good first half for the Rough Rider quarterback.
Let's hear it.
Did a terrific job standing in the pocket, delivering that ball with some confidence to a variety of different receivers. With touchdown passes for Zach along the way.
Boys in the studio are talking. Zach looking like the Zach of old. Trey Mason. Loved his comment. John Liu, harkening back to the Auburn, Texas A&M days. No, it's the Alouettes and the Rough Riders today. Past is past.
That's right, enjoying where he's at right now. Trey Mason looking pretty good in green and white here in 2018.
Second down and 5. See how the defenses handle this third quarter. I think we expected this kind of offense in this ball game to this point. Two teams that have struggled offensively, but not in that first half, moving the football against, again, very stout defenses. Jordan Williams-Lambert has another catch, and he'll move the sticks.
Just interesting to look at some of the personnel packages, and deployment of their players for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You've got Mason and Thigpen. Pretty good duo out of that backfield, particularly when Thigpen's in there. They can get into a lot of different looks.
Double tight end package that time for Mason.
Last time Thigpen came into the game, so we know this is a guy who has played as a running back, guy who's been a kick returner in this league, has lined up as a slot, even as a wide receiver. He has such tremendous speed. At times they've been able to go to empty sets, 6 receiver look. When Thigpen gets into the ball game, and you can use his speed to try and create some mismatches.
Polaris barking his signals through the noise here, changing the play. 4-man rush. Polaris from the pocket delivers into Montreal territory. And again, Kenny Shaw, the only 1,000-yard receiver among the crew, but he got those 1,000 yards with the Argos a couple of seasons ago.
Kenny Shaw working that in route, wrapping around the defender.
Signals first down.
A guy who really battled injuries the entire season after signing with Ottawa prior to the 2017 season.
Dishing it off. There's Kenny, just 6 catches for 66 yards in 3 games played with Ottawa. Has been trying to find a place to play, has been with Saskatchewan this year. Biding his time on the practice roster.
Zero.
Once again, they'll reset. 2nd down and 4. Alouettes loading up that box, but they only rush 4. Polaris now has to move the pocket and gets a jolt, but completes the pass. On both ends, Kenny Shaw took a shot, and so did Zach Collaros. He's going to need some ice bags after this one.
Yeah, Collaros got rocked. Enoch Mwamba came up to meet him as he starts rolling out. Mwamba's bearing down on the line of scrimmage. Dropped the shoulder on him. Kenny Shaw at the other end of this along the sideline. Went hard into those A-frame ads.
1st and 10 from the Montreal 24 with a 7-point lead. Collaros whips it in, goal line, and touchdown. Williams Lambert hanging on. Scores his 5th touchdown of the season.
I find there's a moment in virtually every game when you see Jordan Williams Lambert where you can't help but become a fan for a moment with some of the plays that this young man makes.
Taking a shot. Dominic Ellis. They will review this to see if he is in. Look at the eyes. Jordan Williams Lambert. How about another?
Yeah. Going up in traffic. Hard hit from Ellis. Hangs on to the football. Comes down. Looks like when he comes down, that ball is right on the goal line, which would make it a touchdown.
24-year-old Chicago native out of Ball State. What a great story. To a tryout camp in Akron, Ohio, then a mini camp invite to Bradenton, Florida.
Hey, my team eating though. All these boys eating. You might as well put all of them.
And they are having some brunch right now, particularly Zach Collaros,
play is under review by the command center,
who has been on the money.
Trying to get an angle where you can tell exactly where that ball is. And he first touches down, so as soon as anything other than a hand or foot touches down, he is considered down. So basically his backside is the first thing to hit.
I'm not sure that ball was there, but again, regardless, would put the ball at the 1-yard line. So we've already had one today where Shaq Evans thought he scored. Nick Marshall then punched it in, and we might see Nick Marshall have to come in again. Not sure this is going to be a touchdown. Once again, Dave Foxcroft.
After review, the ruling on the field is overturned. The ball carrier was down, but with contact at the 1-yard line. It'll be first down Saskatchewan at the 1-yard line.
Well, eating a little too soon that time. But again, it could be moot here as Nick Marshall has been automatic in tight. And here he goes once more. He's already scored today. And trying to move that pile there, signaling a touchdown. That was like a third effort by Nick Marshall. Second major of the day, his 8th of the season now. 6th rushing. Was indeed that second effort. Propels him into the end zone with the football.
Now, I am not a big fantasy sports player.
But no fantasies?
Nick Marshall needs to be available for selection as a quarterback because he keeps racking up all these points for scoring touchdowns, right?
Hey, we got to run those play. We're going 76.
Some serious fantasy points is what you're saying up there. Be available.
Today's statistician, the Angry Bird, John Perlberg, tells me that Nick Marshall would have 12.2 fantasy points today.
Brett Lowther at the point after. Saskatchewan Roughriders opening it up now. Biggest lead of the ball game. Two teams, but the most important uniform worn today at Percival Molson Stadium, the uniform members of our armed forces. It's Military Appreciation Day. Let's go to the sideline. Here's John Luke.
Well, thank you, Rod. We're here with Major Ken Mick, Special Events Deputy Division Chief, who's in charge of all the flybys that we see, including today. Ken, can you just give us an idea of the intricacy involved with these flyovers, especially on a day like this with cloudy sky conditions?
Well, there's many people involved. It's not just the pilots or the people on the ground here. It's also the maintainers that help make this flight happen. We were blessed to have better weather today. It's been cloudy but high enough that we can pull it off with no sunshine in our eyes. So.
The Military Appreciation Day has been a fixture with the Montreal Alouettes for a number of years now, but from year to year, how much does this resonate with your servicemen and women who serve domestically and abroad?
Well, it's very important that we acknowledge the support we receive from other organizations. The CFL is just one of them, but also the Montreal Alouettes. We appreciate everything they do for us, and as well, we like to help those where we can.
Okay, final question, Mick. You've had CF-18s in years past. Why the switch to the CT-155 today?
Well, the F-18, although it's really fun to have, it makes a lot of noise. Sometimes they're really busy with their operational and training, so unfortunately they couldn't support today. But I think the Hawks did a very good job. We're on time and loud enough to support and make the fans happy. So.
It didn't scare as many people in downtown Montreal today. Thank you for this, Ken. Appreciate this.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Ken. Thank you to our men and women of our forces.
Amen to that.
How about that flyby, though? That was spectacular. Alouettes needing a response. William Stanback stood up and brought down. Samuel Aguavin right there, setting up a key second down for the Alouettes.
Well, Stanback was a bigger part of the Alouettes offense in their first couple of possessions, but not particularly involved since that time. There's enough time left in this football game. They don't need to forget about the run game. There's some production from Stanback will aid their pass protection of Manziel.
6 receivers set. Manziel in trouble. You got clothesline there. Willie Jefferson, part of Gang Green that brought down Johnny Manziel. That wingspan of Willie Jefferson.
Oh, that's it. The Condor right there gets the hold of the front of the jersey enough to spin Manziel off balance and bring him down.
Boris Beatty once more. Native of France. Pumps one down. Thigpen at his 25. Steps out of bounds right there. Flag on the play. We'll check in when we get back. 4 sacks today for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Johnny down again. Well, quarterbacks have been falling, especially in Montreal. 52 sacks allowed. The Saskatchewan Roughriders protecting their quarterback best in the CFL, and they've dished out 4 sacks today to Johnny Manziel.
Oh, so many battles, one at the line of scrimmage, one and lost.
As we were going away to break,
Texas, you already know.
a hold on the return, so it brings it back to the Saskatchewan 12-yard line. Roughriders have had a lot of big plays. Here comes the blitz off the edge, and it's caught by Kyran Moore, and he's dragging Chip Cox for about 6 yards, maybe more.
Moore listed at just 165 pounds.
But you know what he's got on the back of? He's got a hitch. He's got a hitch on the back right here.
Towing a trailer. Chip Cox just couldn't get those legs to stop churning.
Another big play from the Roughriders. They escape the shadows. There's Kyran Moore again. Moore, who scored a touchdown in this ball game. Zach Collaros has done a very effective job engineering drives here. He's taken a lot of shots. One of his best performances. Using everybody. 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Just past the outstretched fingertips of Kenny Shaw.
Yeah, Collaros saw Shaw the break up the middle and tried to lead him a little more vertically as Shaw was coming across the field. But the receiver was just unable to pull it in.
The Alouettes will bring out Saskatchewan kick team now. They hold at the 40. Dunga, Australian. Josh Bartel. Such a unique kicking style. End over end over end. Sitting under it is Logan. Aguavin brings him down at the 32. 31-17 the score. Johnny Manziel is thrown for 1 touchdown, but they need more. sinking in. Montreal, the Tukes are out. Hockey
Their territory.
Gives the rock back to Stanback.
Hey, boy, you ain't coming out here. You ain't coming out here, boy.
Likely setting up a throwing down.
The Roughriders did a nice job in pursuing to the football, getting that run support, maintaining that contained position. Montreal tried to run the ball outside, but Rough Rider defenders maintained that outside leverage. It was Aguavin leading the way, making sure he didn't allow himself to get pinned inside.
There's that rush again, and Charleston Hughes is on the sack board. First time in 3.5 games. Does a little sack surfing here in Montreal. 14 on the season. 5 Saskatchewan sacks today.
Quick get off from Hughes. Tackle is coming a long way. The guard popping out from the inside rather to get to him.
113th sack. Some vultures are circling here. All kind of vultures. They're seagulls, but you know what I'm saying. Charleston Hughes, like a vulture in the backfield, finds his prey, named Johnny Manziel. Well, it's NFL Sunday as well, continuing today. 3 afternoon games. Johnny Manziel's old team, the Cleveland Browns at Baker Mayfield. John Gruden looking for his first win. Saints and Giants too. 49ers and the Chargers, 4 Eastern. Football lives here. TSN and CTV. So those aren't doves is what you're telling me. Release the seagulls. They always like to make an appearance after halftime. Through the birds. Once again, Trey Mason is going to get the chain gang working.
I have a great appreciation for a running back who's picking up most of his yards after first contact, and that's what Trey Mason has done throughout this football game. Never let that first guy bring you down.
Collaros, double tight end set. Now John Bowman had him, and they will bring him down, and it's Chip Cox climbing the all-time tackle lead, and Chip Cox has himself a 2nd sack of the season.
Chip Cox right on the very right edge of your screen. Beats 2 blocks to get to the quarterback that time.
Where's Alfred Hitchcock when you need him? Birds are flying here. Collaros. Lots of time to take it if he wants. Now he walks the tightrope, and Collaros goes down. Enoch Mwamba knocking him down, and Zach Collaros could find nobody home.
Going to take a look at
a lot of white.
Take a look at the all-24. Eventually, you're going to see Kyron Moore ends up wide open as Collaros eventually scrambles to his right. Moore is open deep down the middle, right on the hash mark, but there's just not an opportunity for Collaros to get set and be able to throw the ball that far down the field.
Couldn't see through the bird flock. Shanti Alouette. Josh Bartel. I swear one of these birds is going to fly in our booth. Logan. Steph Logan could be sprung here. There is a flag down. Logan streaks to the end zone. Steph Logan flies through the birds to the end zone, but it could come back. Steph Logan hasn't had a lot of success on the returns, the 37-year-old. But the flag was down, and we'll see what the call is.
No yards. Saskatchewan, number 47.
No yards. It is a touchdown for Steph Logan. His first kick return touchdown in 2 long years. 74-yarder. His longest punt return of the season was 39, and looks like he was stopped in his tracks here, and then boom.
Yeah, ducked underneath a couple of tackles, and then it was north-south, straight line. Logan's run.
It's a heck of a movie. Steph Logan, one of the oldest guys in the league, certainly the oldest returner. Former Dakota Coyote, former NFLer. Told us he can still fly. Age is only a number. Johnny Manziel likes it. That's a huge touchdown late here in the third quarter. Vaults the Alouettes back in the thick of it here.
Yeah, they needed to keep this, get this back to a 1-score ball game before the Roughriders could turn it into a 3-score game. Big play on special teams for Mickey Donovan's unit.
First return
my boys up. Hey, what?
Of the season for the Alouettes.
Hey, Rainey, you owe me, baby.
And his old buddy Chris Rainey, BC Lion. Logan, of course, a former Lion. And his first punt return touchdown since 2016. Boris Beatty to make this a 7-point game, and it's wide. That point could come back to hurt the Alouettes. Still a 1-possession game, but it's an 8-point lead. Boris Beatty usually automatic on that. There was nobody there after that. They thought they had him.
Yeah, just left to beat the first man, and then he gets it going. And you see a big hug from special teams coordinator Mickey Donovan.
You know what's significant for Steph Logan is he got hurt early in the season. In fact, he thought that he had broken his leg. But broke that play. 75 yards, touchdown for the OG. What a personable guy, too. Steph Logan also a couple of weeks back told us, you know, my whole family's fast. We're just all small, we're all fast. Still fast. 37 years old. Different ball game now. 20 seconds to go, third quarter. Big Pen. Known for his return game. Scored touchdowns 5 different ways in a season. Nick Boulay, the tackle. Now Zach Collaros trying to seize momentum back. There's Rich Stubler, veteran defensive coordinator. Good to see him up and around.
Yes, Coach Stubler involved in a little cycling accident recently. Nearly landed him on the 6-game injured list.
Big Pen. Yeah, Stubes hit by an open door. Broke 5 ribs in his hand, but he said, you know what? Still didn't miss a practice.
That's right. Committed.
Well, This is a heck of a ball game now. We've had it all. Manziel's first. Zach Collaros finding the end zone too, and Steph Logan his first in 2 years. Some well-fed, feathered friends. Breaking news. Siegel just carried Steph Logan away. No. There are a lot of birds here.
Just outside the stadium.
Of course that would happen.
This is a real thing.
It is.
That
just down the street.
Yeah, I mean, between bird attacks like that and Sharknadoes.
Yes.
The things we have to watch out for.
This game is not for the birds, though. Suddenly, the hometown birds are back in it.
Yeah, they sure are. And when you look at it, it's been a true team effort today in terms of offense, defense, special teams. You look at the defense creating a real short field, creating a turnover on Saskatchewan's first possession of this ball game. The Alouettes went and scored a touchdown from that. Obviously, special teams with Steph Logan in the most recent touchdown.
Our producer and our director have way too much time on their hands. Welcome back to this Hitchcockian drama. Crazy thing is, those birds come in right after halftime. And it's almost as if when Steph Logan ran and the crowd got into it, there they go away again.
Well, I think they got scared off.
And now they're going to come back again later.
They were causing all that frenzy outside the stadium.
They line up, they're ready.
Well, I mean, Steph Logan made the game close, and now they're going to sit and watch.
Yes. Bird's eye view here in Montreal. 31-23. You think our producer and director need a vacation? Having some fun here. Oh! It's a rarity here today, a drop. Joshua Stanford, the Mississauga native. 8th round pick of the Riders. Former Kansas Jayhawk. One in and out. So it'll be 2nd and 10. The Rider team trying to secure its 9th win of the season. Won 5 of their last 6, despite some numbers that are not flattering offensively. Getting it done defensively. They put up good numbers offensively today. Here's the blitz. Collaros lets it go. Kyran Moore. First down.
And you want to get a team out of that blitz package, get them stop sending heat. You got to make plays against it. The Saskatchewan Roughriders executed their blitz adjustments perfectly there. Offensive line knows they're outnumbered. The ball's got to come out quickly, which means the receivers have to adjust the routes more on that quick slant. Gives Collaros an immediate outlet. Pick up the first down yardage.
Once again, Collaros directs traffic. 22 of 30. 1 touchdown pass. Slant pattern. Reaching up for it. Kyran Moore. Late flag, and might have been that last second shot that jerked Kyran Moore's helmet back and his neck.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Montreal #1. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Brandon Dozier's had a couple of 15-yarders in this one today.
Yeah, one earlier, no yards variety, but you'll see as Moore's on his way down. Dozier caught him in the back of the head. Coming up.
Zach Collaros over the magical 300-yard mark. It's the first time this year the Roughriders have gone over 300 in a game. Collaros going to his left. Pulls it back. And John Bowman reaches out and grabs him, but Collaros looked like he got some positive yardage. It's been a long time for Collaros.
Well, the Roughriders had that blocked up really well on the front side. Had a little trouble with the pursuit of John Bowman coming from the backside. For Zach Collaros, by the way, you mentioned been a while since the first time over 300. Last occurred for him July 15th of last year. He posted 361 yards through the air against the BC Lions.
As a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Second down and 10. Slinging it. Shaq Evans steps out of bounds.
Well, Evans is a guy who's really stepped up, emerging as a favorite target for Zach Collaros. Again, this is a guy who first got his opportunity in the Rider offense when Deron Carter flipped over to defense to fill in for Nick Marshall. Evans has been very, very good since. Marshall obviously has been very, very good at his spot.
Inside the 20. Red zone looking end zone. Up for grabs. Oh, it's picked off. And Enoch Mwamba gets a block. Has it up near the 50-yard line. Zach Collaros, who fumbled earlier. This one was not on him, though. Ball was a little high. Ricocheted up. And Enoch Mwamba has his first interception of the season. And the Alouettes have the football, down 8. Second Saskatchewan turnover of the day. First on their first possession. Enoch Mwamba, right place, right time for it.
Yeah, deflected ball. It was Tavon Campbell in coverage. And the Z receiver, outside receiver to the field, Josh Stanford. He makes a nice break on the ball to come underneath. Between he and Stanford fighting over it, they deflected up, and Mwamba, who dropped in coverage, is able to swoop in and get that ball.
Owls have not turned the ball over. Manziel goes down the rail for Ernest Jackson. Little hand fighting back and forth, no flag. One-on-one coverage downfield. Couple of veterans. Javon Johnson. Ernest Jackson one-on-one.
A pair of one-time Ottawa Red Blacks. Johnny Manziel absorbs another hit. That one from Eddie Steele.
Problem for the Owls right here. Second down. 4 for 13 on the day. Here comes Willie Jefferson. They dump it off a little bubble screen here. William Stanback cuts back and has a first down. Stanback slipped, got back in his running lane, made a great cut and picked up the first down.
Screen set up. You see a couple blockers get out front. Nice effort by Stanback, cutting it back to make a few miss. And big first down for the Alouettes.
10 minutes to go here in Montreal. Well, we had some razzle-dazzle trickery earlier. This time, Johnny Manziel, a little sleight of hand.
And if you're one of those fans who bought some Alouettes tickets once the trade was made to acquire Johnny Manziel.
The Alouettes. And Johnny Manziel has his second touchdown pass.
Yeah, I mean, this may be your first official Johnny football moment in the Canadian Football League. Unblocked blitz. Alouettes, nobody on the Alouettes seemed to see the blitz coming. Watch the rest of football to Ernest Jackson for the major.
Takes it in sitting. Johnny football. Makes something out of nothing. What a drive, and you are right. You may have just been witness to some vintage Johnny football on this drive. Stuff that he used to do in college regularly.
And now the Alouettes have to go for 2 because they missed their last extra point attempt.
So they go for 2. Ernest Jackson's first touchdown of the year. Manziel has 2 touchdown passes. Looking for a 2-point convert. He has to run. Oh, evades Charleston Hughes, and he's going into the end zone for the 2-point convert. Spectacular. Johnny Manziel.
This will be an interesting look at the goal line. He's airborne.
I'm not sure.
No.
I don't think he did.
He's down before that ball crosses the goal line.
Tell you what, there is no fear in Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, what concussion?
Already a concussion. Very similar play earlier this season. There is a flag down on the field. If they go by that replay.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Edom coming up met him outside of the goal line.
Now let's see what the flag is about, though. There is a flag down. Well, we've been waiting for a while to see the arrival of Johnny Football in Canadian football. We're seeing it today.
The ruling on the field was an unsuccessful convert. The ball was down prior to the goal line. We also have an objectionable conduct, Saskatchewan, number 3. That penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
Again, that miss by Boris Beattie could be costly. Johnny Manziel making some magic here. His Als are now down by 2. Well, it's taken in football.
And Manziel providing all sorts of excitement on that last drive.
Reckless abandon, does not get the 2-point convert. Penalty applied on the kick, but we got a ball game here. Could Manziel get his first CFL win on what has been a turning point breakout game for Johnny Manziel? Look out, Marcus Thigpen tripped up. But Zach Collaros will have something to say. His ability to improvise, to make something out of nothing, to make and extend plays on display here.
Well, we saw Zach Collaros early in this football game. Rebound from some adversity to come back. Make great things happen for the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense. Now he'll be looked upon to do it again in the second half.
Incomplete. Don't you get a sense that that interception, which could have really put a cleat on the Alouettes' throat had they Roughriders been able to score on that possession? That interception has completely turned this game around.
Yeah, it's obviously huge, the difference between having the ball and momentum down by a score between the other team putting you down by 2 scores in the 4th quarter.
Zach's been great on second down today. 10 of 16, 6 of 8 in the second half. Now he has to step up. He goes over the top, and Shaq Evans with a juggling act for the first down. And Zach Collaros has his own magic here as he floats one out to Shaq. 21-yard pickup.
Yeah, Shaq Evans catches this football twice. As you'll see, nice touch from Collaros just to drop it in over the top. Pulls it in, pops it up off his leg. Yeah, Manziel thought his offense was about to get back on the field there for a second.
Midway through the 4th. 1st and 10. Read option. And Collaros just throws it at the feet. And Williams-Lambert didn't like the way that was developing at all. Play action.
Yeah, Enoch Mwamba, one of the guys who snuffs this out, cutting down Collaros' time. Watch the eyes. Sees what's going on. Got to get outside. Outflank the quarterback. Don't let him break the pocket. Ends up coming underneath Jordan Williams-Lambert, who is the intended receiver on the screen.
Former star at St. FX. He's had a Goliath season. Tied for the league lead in tackles, 4 sacks, forced fumble, and today an interception. Collaros has lots of time and can't deliver. Flag down, came out late. It's going to be interference against the Alouettes on Kyran Moore.
contact. Montreal number 3. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Dominic Ellis is going to be the man in coverage on Kyron Moore, and you're going to see a little grab as Moore goes to make his break towards the out. Ellis was sitting on the in, had to kind of wrap the outside arm around him to slow him down a little bit.
Roughriders in Alouette territory from the Montreal 50. First and 10, using up the clock. Now Collaros moves the pocket, dishes it out again to Kyron Moore, and Moore steps out. The Montreal bench, another first down. Zach putting on a clinic.
Yeah, no points obviously yet for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on this drive, but they've taken away the momentum from a Montreal team that was surging after the Logan return and the last touchdown drive led by Johnny Manziel. Very, very good response possession here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Two teams that struggled putting points on the board. Made some big plays here today. 4-man rush. Collaros unloads for Kenny Shaw, making an impression in his first game with the Roughriders. Silences this crowd. It'll be second and short.
The Roughriders fortunate to be able to add another productive veteran guy. Great depth to have. Obviously going into a playoff run for them.
Second down and 2. They'll leave it for Trey Mason. Chip Cox again finishes off the initial contact by Chris Aki. Cox continues to climb the all-time tackles board. Another one of the veterans on the field, the 35-year-old out of Columbus, Ohio.
Chip Cox is a guy who's just always had a nose for the football. Started his career defensive halfback position. Eventually moved up and really found a home as the nickel linebacker.
Sun peeking through the clouds here. Big pan. Woody Barron bringing him down. And Chip Cox, 4th overall in CFL history with some illustrious names.
Yeah, 3 Hall of Famers, the only guys ahead of him.
That's where he's destined someday. A lot of fumble recoveries through the years, including for touchdowns. Key second down here for both sides. Collaros uses the play clock. And no! Marcus Thigpen can't hang on.
Thigpen, never mind the first down. He might have walked into the end zone if he had caught that football.
So again, the Alouettes D catches a break. Best the Riders are going to do. Thigpen would have had 6 here, thinking running before catching.
Yeah, and that ended a string of 6 consecutive second down conversions for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and marched the ball down the field.
Brett Lowther, 4.5 to go here.
That's the missed opportunity the Riders may lament, as they're now going to leave Montreal within a touchdown.
Ooh, that was almost blocked. But Lowther puts it through. It's a 5-point game. Johnny Manziel, breakout day today in Canada. Can he pick up his first W?
For tickets, go to Riderville.com.
4:14 to go. The Saskatchewan Roughriders and their adoring faithful that travel coast to coast to coast. Home next week against Edmonton, then in Winnipeg, Calgary, and home to BC. Johnny Manziel Finds Eugene Lewis. Derek Moncrief, the tackle. Well, this is uncharted territory for Manziel in this ball game. A chance to win the ball game in a fourth quarter drive.
That would be the first time in his professional football career he has engineered such a drive.
Did it as an Aggie. There have been shades of Johnny football in Texas A&M today. Here comes the blitz again. Picked up. Manziel now has to throw. Going deep, having to come back to the football. And unable to hang on is Lewis. And a risky throw by Johnny Manziel again. But it almost worked out.
And a heck of an effort by Eugene Lewis to get to the ball, but ultimately it's the effort and coverage of Nick Marshall who stayed right with him.
He almost had that.
Yeah, Marshall fights him all the way to the ground.
What an
making
effort.
Sure Lewis couldn't pull it in.
So this is a key boot. Morris Beatty. Alouettes looking to get the ball back. Big kick. Kyron Moore. Penalty flag down. Zig it and zag it. Up near the 39-yard line. It's the 3-minute warning. Flag on the field. Anybody's ball game here. Will Zach get the W, or will Johnny football find a way to win? On the verge of the NHL season, Jets on TSN Thursday. Regular season action. St. Louis Blues season opening clash. 6:30 Central on TSN 3 in the Jets region and on TSN 1290. Well, number 2 on the sideline, Johnny Manziel, has had his best day north of the border, without a doubt. But his team is still down 5. Zach Collaros, he's put on a show as well. Now looks to use up the clock and not bring Manziel back out. And it's going to come back to another critical second down.
Well, decent first down production, 5 yards for Trey Mason on the play, which is going to at least give them some options. Here on second down, Mason looked like he was a little nicked up there, though.
He goes out. Thigpen comes in. They keep it on the ground. Do they use their outlet? Shaq Evans has been Mr. Second Down today. Crowd rises up.
And they're emptying out the backfield. Thigpen lines up as a wideout.
Collaros, quick one, and caught right at the first down marker. And it's Devin Bailey's first catch of the afternoon. And he moves the sticks. And most importantly for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the clock keeps moving.
Zach Collaros, with that completion to Bailey, has now connected with 8 different receivers on the day.
Under 2 to go. Saskatchewan looking to milk this clock. Play clock comes down to 1. Pound the ground again with Trey Mason. Almost a must stop here for the Montreal D. Another Saskatchewan first down. Might not see Johnny Manziel back on the field today.
Well, not if Zach Collaros has his way. Once again, it'll be Mason out, Thigpen in on second down.
Second down and 7. They'll empty the backfield. Collaros wide out, wide open for Kyron Moore. Wisely goes down. Clock ticks down to 1:20. Now they're in field goal range. A 5-point lead.
You're going to see more releases from tight to the formation out into the flat. 4 receivers on that side, the Alouettes. Clearly mixed up in coverage. A couple defenders pinned inside on the same man. And that throws just low-hanging fruit for Collaros.
Zach now knows they can keep it conservative here. Oh, look out. Miscommunication in the backfield.
Found a lower price on tires? We'll match it, guaranteed.
Well, they don't want to make a mistake. Looking like a innocent exchange at first.
Montreal.
But it was not. Trey Mason just got back to the line of scrimmage. Now, biggest down for the Montreal D. Need to stop Saskatchewan, force a field goal attempt. Try to pull out a victory if they get the ball back. One more first down by the Roughriders, and they can put this thing to bed.
Well, the Roughriders have done a nice job on this possession in terms of not just the successful plays they've run, but the way they've managed the clock and running them, letting the play clock tick down before snapping the ball. And Kyran Moore having the awareness to stay in bounds as opposing to try and outrun people down the sidelines.
Second down and 10. Thigpen gets it. Bashes up the middle. And Marcus Thigpen almost got the first down. Let's see what the spot is. But he carried about 4 Alouettes. They had to get to just near the 30-yard line. It's going to be third down.
I mean, and that's a play that's got to frustrate defensive coordinator Rich Stubler and head coach Mike Sherman, as the Alouettes recognized what was coming, made contact with Thigpen, who's not what you would consider a big power back, much closer to the line of scrimmage. But just allowed him to move the pile to even create this third down situation.
So it's 3rd and 1. Saskatchewan signaling to their bench. And Chris Jones winding that clock down to take the timeout. They will, down to 31. Great clock management here from the Roughriders.
Saskatchewan.
So 3rd and 1. So Nick Marshall will come out. 3rd and 1. The only hope the Alouettes have left is a must stop here.
Yeah, stop or a turnover.
Saskatchewan gets the first down. They can start the bus. There it is, 3rd and 1. Nick Marshall behind center. And, whoa, maybe not. He had to get to the 31 and maybe about the 30.5-yard line. Let's see where the spot is. Saskatchewan signaling, and it is a first down. That will do it. Dave Foxcroft signals first down, and great clock management. A great drive engineered by Zach Collaros, and they're going to put away the victory here, barring something that's completely unforeseen.
Terrific execution again. Great response coming from Zach Collaros and the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense. Every time they had their backs up against the wall, faced some adversity in this football game, they delivered the way they needed to.
And most of all, on a day where number 2 is carrying loads of confidence, they keep Johnny Manziel off the field. Get into victory formation. They'll have a couple of plays here. Saskatchewan Roughriders put some room between them and their pursuers in the West. 9 and 5. Again, against Edmonton next week, and Winnipeg, Calgary, and BC. This will do it. Zach Collaros takes the knee, takes the football, takes the win, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, one of the league's hottest teams right now, have peeled off 6 of their last 7 games with victories. Johnny Manziel's best day in Canadian football since he came north of the border. Chris Jones wishing Johnny well. We'll see more of Manziel. That was promising from the Owls, but they don't get the win. Our Nissan Titan player of the game, Zach Football.
Yes, sir, Zach Collaros. His biggest day as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. 29 of 41, approaching 400 yards through the air for Collaros. And just a well-managed, well-put-together game from him. Came up with big plays when he needed to, stood in there, threw that football with confidence. Zach Collaros, a very deserving Nissan Titan player of the game.
Zach Collaros, all the talk about Johnny football and the hype. Manziel put on a good show, almost was able to pull it out. The Owls come up short again. They're 3-11 now. The Riders are 9-5 after a 34-29 win. A good one here in Montreal on this final day of September 2018. Week 16 is complete, on to week 17. The push to the playoffs continues. Goodbye, everybody, from Montreal. We'll send you to NFL football, the Cleveland Browns and the Oakland Raiders. So long.